which is actually important. Factor of enlightenment today is important for all the meditator, because when you already, let's say, first in the Dhammanupassana, it talk about hindrances. Okay, let's say if you have overcome hindrances, and after that, the Dhammanupassana also talk about aggregate and sense basis. So while you are contemplating the aggregate and sense basis, how do you start to make progress towards enlightenment? That is by arousing, make the factors of enlightenment arose, make it arisen. All right. So how to do it? So actually, we will study the original text of Pali with the English translation, and later we will look at the commentary. Okay. All right. So this is the original Pali. Okay. So actually, the Pali is very easy to recite because it's actually a lot of repetition. So punacharam bhikkhave bhikkhu dhamesu dhammanupassi viharati satasu bojjhangesu. So earlier on will be kaya nupassi. Here will be then vedana. Now is a dhamma. Now this dhamma, the best way is just translate dhamma as dhamma with a small d, right? Because if we are going to translate like as principles like here, actually it's very confusing, all this English translation. So just translate dhamma dhamma, or if you want to translate, you can translate as things or phenomena, right? So about contemplation, the dhamma in the dhammas, about the satyasu bojjhangesu, 7 factors of enlightenment or 7 awakening factors here, translation by Bhikkhu Sujato. So the Buddha made a statement here, and the Buddha start to make a questions, right? So you can see the sentence is actually quite similar. Now ikatamcha is like how. Okay, now from here. Okay. So this one will repeat 7 times because the first factor is sati, factors of enlightenment. Then second factor will be Dhamma Vijaya, factors of investigation of principle or investigation of Dhamma, right? So the first one is, if he has this awakening factor of mindfulness in them, understand I have the awakening factor of mindfulness in me. So when they don't have, they understand that I don't have. Then they understand how that has not arisen come to arise, and how has arisen become fulfilled by the development. Actually, Pali is very easy. First one, if you have, when you learn Pali, you can see the word ati. When there is, you know there is. And when nothing, when there is no factors of enlightenment, you know there's no factors of enlightenment. So when you study Abhidhamma, you in the Patana, we also have the ati condition present and nati condition absent. All right. So it's talking about these two also. And for those factors of enlightenment not arisen yet, we know how arisen it comes to arise. And then for it have arisen, we come to fulfillment and by development, right? So this statement will be repeat about 7 times, because for the those other 7 types of other 6 types of things. Okay, so there are 7 factors of enlightenment here. So in brief, the first one will be mindfulness, then investigation of just translate of Dhamma, yeah. Okay. Then the third one will be effort. Later we go through Pali. Then this is joy is better. Okay. Then the fifth is tranquility, and 6 is concentration, and 7 will be the upekha. Okay. Okay. So for the first one, sati, this is the sentence that I copied just now. So we just have to see how the sentence is repeating. First one is who has, okay. who don't have the factors Enlightenment. Sorry, don't have. And then the third one will be, okay, not arisen, come to arise. And the first one is become fulfilled. All right. So this one will be repeat 4 times for the whole Pali. Has, don't have. Okay. If you have sati, mindfulness, you don't have sati, you also have no. And then those not arisen come to arise, the sati mindfulness, you know. And then how those have arisen become fulfilled. Okay. So this one for the mindfulness. And then it will repeat by the Dhamma Vijaya. Here translation as a investigation principle. Same Pali also. After that, energy, effort. So second factor will be Dhamma Vijaya. Third one will be energy or effort. Now the Pali here, when you see the Pali actually is same by the English translation the here, because the Bhikkhu Sujato, when he had already done a new translation for the Nikaya, he make it simplified. So whatever repeating, he just put the three dot dot dot. Right. So it will be same text as above because the Pali is quite same. So Dhamma Vijaya second, energy is third, rapture is piti, joy, tranquility, pasadi. Now he translate this one as immersion, right? All right. Samadhi. Then equanimity. Okay. So tranquility and then the last equanimity. So far is we can see it's like the Buddha asks us to contemplate in this 5 way. If it has, it don't have, those have horizon come to arise and horizon will come fulfill for all these 7 factors enlightenment. But we didn't see how to practice, so far by the original text, right? And then this statement is same, is the one that you see at the end of all the Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, is the Vipassana point. You should contemplate internally, externally, how liable to origination, liable to vanish, and then liable to both originate and vanish. And then mindfulness to the extent necessary for knowledge and mindfulness, they maintain independent, not grasping any way. Okay, and that's how a bhikkhu or meditator meditates by observing the Dhamma, this one, the Dhammanupassana aspect of principle with respect to 7 awakening factors, right? So this finished, and but we didn't know how to meditate. It didn't tell us the way. So we look at the commentary here. Now the commentary gives lots of information. Okay, start from here. Okay, so we will invite some student to read. Okay. Who is here? Sister Go, you can read.
Okay. After explaining the contemplation of mental objects by way of the internal and the external sense bases, the master said, and further, O bhikkhus, in order to talk on the contemplation of mental objects by way of the factor of enlightenment, the mental limbs of a being who is awaking from the stupor of passions that soil or who is penetrating the real truth of suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. Limbs are members or constituent parts of the awaking mind. Santam means is present, existing by way of attainment. The enlightenment factor called mindfulness is the enlightenment factor of mindfulness. Because in this enlightenment factor, the meditator effectively gets enlightened. The meditator is called complete enlightenment from the time he begins strenuous contemplation on insight. It is a name for him who stands in the practice, starting from the arising of the knowledge of the rise and fall of phenomena. The sevenfold completeness or harmony beginning with mindfulness by which he awakes, effectively rises from the sleep of the defilement or penetrate the truth, is complete enlightenment. The component of that complete enlightenment or of the harmony called complete enlightenment are the factors of enlightenment.
Okay, thank you. So this part is much more on the Pali definition. All right. So this part only. Okay, now we already see before this Bojanga, we have the internal external sense based then five aggregates. So you already explained about in this way. And after that, now about the Dhammanupassana by way of enlightenment Bojanga. Right? So
Mm,
after the first one will be five sense bases, then five aggregates, now Bojanga. So it actually try to say the sequence in the Dhammanupassana. Right? The sequence here.
mm, mm,
Okay. All right. So, and it's for those who have awakened for the slumber of passion. All right. All right. It means that for those who have removed some of the hindrances, because if the hindrances is obstruct the mind, the meditator cannot come to this level. So the meditator need to be reduce the some passion, and also this means that for those who start to penetrate into the Four Noble Truth, all right. So this means that uh, for this bojanga, so we can make some notes here. So it means that for those who reduce sensual desire, and for those uh, penetrate start to penetrate the Four Noble Truth, because they will not totally understand the Four Noble Truth. They start to I would say start to penetrate. Okay, even sensual desire will not be or will be some extent, right? Because as they cultivate the bojanga factor, they will reduce the sensual desire more and more in the hindrances, okay? By hindrances. Now, before the bojanga, remember what we have is I'll tell you the key point, okay? The first one is we call it hindrances nivarana. Then kanda is aggregate K. Then ayatana will be sense basis. After that will be B, I put bojanga. Now the enlightenment. After that, sacha. Okay, I remember the Pali. H for this is hindrances, nivarana. So this is a kanda. So this is a ayatana. Sorry. Okay. Bojanga is a Bojanga factors enlightenment and truth. All right. So we already reached here. So the first paragraph mentioned about sense basis, and the first paragraph mentioned about the hindrances, which is the sensual desire that we should uh, remove. And after that, the first paragraph also mentioned about lead to the Four Noble Truth. There's a sacha here. Okay, so sometimes when we read the text like this, we have to see the linking, how it link with the previous text and how it link with the next text, right? And this link is just a Pali word from the Anga, Bojanga. It's considered what is Anga means a mental members or constituent parts of the awakened mind. Okay. This is actually not important, but it's a okay. Now, for this practice, where does it start for, right? So here is talking about complete enlightenment from the strenuous contemplate insight. Okay, where does the insight coming from? Because some of the texts say insight coming from the knowledge of rise and fall of phenomena. Okay, some of the books say the knowledge of insight meditation. There is a insight knowledge coming from the first knowledge. There is a nama rupa parichedana. So to understand this paragraph, we have to remember we have how many the 16 vipassana yana. I don't know how many of you study before. Uh, so the first one will be Nama Rupa Parichedanyana. Okay. Differentiate between mind and matter. Then Pachaya Parigaha, cause and effect. Okay. Then discern cause and effect. Then after that, third will be the samasana. It's trying to see anicca, dukkha, anatta. And then the fourth will be we call it arising and passing away. Okay. So on this paragraph, it say that, right? For those who stand in the practice, starting from the arising of the knowledge of rise and fall. So there's the fourth vipassana jnana. There will be a lot. Okay. So when you study vipassana, you come to this, and I think in Abhidhamma we also come to this sooner or later, right? Okay, this is talking about for those who get effectively get enlightened. He is called complete enlightenment from the strenuous practice of insight. All right. So from the knowledge arise and fall. So normally when we say that if somebody be able to reach this knowledge of rise and fall, or we call it the knowledge of rising and fall passing away, so he consider if the knowledge is actually quite secure or quite firm here, he's considered as quite solid in his vipassana practice. So if he just get 1, 2, 3, so the knowledge is not so solid yet until he come to this matured stage, then the vipassana jnana will be more solid. So it's just trying to say about different types of vipassana jnana here, right? Okay, and then the rest is okay. Now, just now we have this sentence: how the arising of the non-arisen. Uh, this is I think a lot of theory also. Okay, so I think we just skip it. Right now, for mindfulness, the first one is how to get mindfulness. Right reflection. Okay, so if you want to have a mindfulness, you need to reflect like this. So right reflection actually, when we see even when we see the seven factors of enlightenment, we don't see like insight or we don't see wisdom here. But what you say that from here is true, right reflection. Right reflection means actually we call it sama. You can say sama ditti. Sama ditti means in a way also to do with maybe not samadhi, it's talking about like how you call it pachavekkhana, it's kind of reflection. But like reflection actually you can take it actually to do with the wisdom also, right? So in a way also linked with wisdom. Because if we study the seven factors of enlightenment, we don't see the factors of wisdom here, but there should be a wisdom somewhere here, right? So we take it like reflection is to do with the wisdom. Okay. Okay, now from this part is much more meaningful. It's helpful for us to know how to factors that lead to arising of the factor line inside. Okay, somebody can read this one, right? Guat Ngo, you can read this one. Okay.
Okay. Further, four things lead to the arising of the enlightenment factor of mindfulness. Mindfulness with clear comprehension, the avoiding of person with confused minds, association with person who keep mindfulness ready for application, inclination towards mindfulness. In explanation, it is said, mindfulness arises through mindfulness with clear comprehension in the seven position, beginning with that of going forwards, or the mindfulness arousing the knowledge which grasps the purpose of this action is mindfulness with clear comprehension. And as mindfulness with clear comprehension, everywhere is a state which brings about the cultivation of mindfulness. Mindfulness with clear comprehension is necessary for the arising of mindfulness, as the abandoning or rejection of contrary things and the practice of suitable things are necessary for the arising of fresh karmically wholesome things. So the each wind of person bereft of mindfulness, association with person who cultivate mindfulness, the state of being not engaged with the first kind, and the stage of being engaged with the second are necessary for the arising of the enlightenment factors of mindfulness.
Yeah, you can read this one as well. Yes.
Okay, mindfulness arises through the avoiding of persons who are confused in mind, like crows that came cawing to food thrown, through association with persons who keep mindfulness ready for application, like Elder Tisadatta, who is in the terrace of the wisdom tree. Having got a golden ticket authorizing him to espouse the Dhamma, Buddhi, Mande, Suwana Salakam, Gahetua, enter the assembly saying, in which one of the 18 languages shall I espouse the Dhamma? And the elder Abhaya, who is mentioned as the elder Dattabhaya by the commentators, and through the state of mind, standing for originating mindfulness in all posture, in all kinds of behavior or disposition of the body, and the bhikkhu knows that the completion by culture of the enlightenment factors of mindfulness brought into being by this four way take place by means of attainment of the path of arahantship.
Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
So now, okay, thank you. So here, so is talking about how do we increase our mindfulness. The four main things are this one. Okay. So we just copy the text here. Okay. So now, first one, mindfulness with clear comprehension, avoiding person with confused mind. So inclination towards mindfulness. Okay, that's very important here. Now, clear comprehension, we see this one in the Kaya Nupassana. So I hope you all remember. So when we study the Kaya Nupassana, we also see this thing before. Okay, so this one, all right. So this is called sampajana. Sampajana, all right, means whenever any action in going forward, going backward, look for here, eating, drinking, walking, standing, whatever, he should know. So this is called uh, clear comprehension. Here translate the situational awareness. So this one is this one. And just now you also mentioned about this any posture, right? When walking, he knows he's walking. Sitting, he knows he's sitting. This means that by trying to say in Dhammanupassana, we also in Dhammanupassana in the Bojjhanga for this sati mindfulness, we are actually applying this information we get from the earlier section about body posture, mindfulness on body posture, and be mindful of all actions at any time, anyway, right? So this whole clear comprehension. Okay. And second one, avoid person with confused mind. Because this is like when you study Abhidhamma, you notice that we have one we call Upanisaya. I hope now I talk about Abhidhamma because most of you are Abhidhamma student, okay? Upanisaya Pachayo means is a we call it decisive support, including food, weather, and the people. So if you are associated with people who are confused or who are very diluted or who prone to anger, so their behavior will in some way will make us uh, affect us. And sometimes we might copy their behavior. So if it's possible, we try to avoid that kind of people and try to associate with more for people with those people who have more mindfulness, who are really try to keep their mindfulness and apply their mindfulness. That's also important. So means that avoid the bad guy and keep with the good guy. And also our mind must incline towards mindfulness. Like just now we say clear comprehension means that any posture, any place, any time, we should be mindful. Okay. So that's this is actually we call it in a way it's a practice, but it's actually more with towards our environment. How should we for those people is our environment. This is environment, and this is here. This is more about be our actual practice. You should keep your mindfulness in your daily life. All right. Okay. And this already say for those people who are confused mind. Okay. So this part is talking about how to practice mindfulness. Okay. So you can see this is our own action. So mindfulness. So 2 and 3 is much more on our environment. I would say our environment and people. What kind of people that we should associate and what kind of people that we should not associate. All right. So one is should practice at any time, any way, any posture. All right. So talking about this. Inclination towards mindfulness is much more towards we call it your wish or desire. What is your wish? What is your desire? You should incline the mind. So if you wish to improve in meditation, of course you need to incline your mind towards that. So all these are internal factors. So this is an external. We call it this external factor. Okay, external factor. So this one will be internal. Okay. So this already the commentary talking about this. The first one will be mindfulness sati. Okay. So when we see the commentary, actually it comes from other atthakatha. Atthakatha means other texts written by other elders, which they have lots of information. Okay, so it's actually interesting because they tell us the story, different story. All these are Sri Lankan monks at that time. You know. Okay, now second one will be Dhamma Vijaya. Here translate as investigation on mental object. Right. So Dhamma Vijaya, yes, sometimes they call it Dhamma Vijaya. So here nature of the okay, mental object is also can take it also. Because anything can be object for the mind. Right. So now we're on this one. Dhamma Vijaya. So Vijaya means investigation. So if this mindfulness, this one will be in like we call it Cetasika, ultimately this will be on wisdom level, real wisdom level. Okay. So this is more towards. So when we learn the sutta, try to match with Abhidhamma knowledge. Okay. So this is sati, mindfulness. This will be wisdom. This one viriya. Yes, we have viriya, piti, pasadi. All right. Pasadi, do we have? No. Samadhi. Yes. Samadhi is ekagata, one-pointedness. Upekha is vedana here. Okay. Now we look at this. Right. Okay. So somebody read. Melinda, can you read this one, Melinda?
Thank you, Saiji. Investigation of mental objects. There are karmically good and karmically bad things, right and wrong counterparts of bright and dark things, and an abundance of right reflection on them is the reason conducive to the arising of the non-arising enlightenment factor of the investigation of mental objects, and for the increased expansion and the completion of culture of that enlightenment factor when it has arisen. Here, right reflection is the conscious state that is associated with knowledge and which arises by way of perceiving according to actuality, the nature, function, characteristic, and so forth of the several skillful or wholesome states of mind and the like. Because it is correct reflection, it is called right or radical reflection. 6 things lead to the arising of this enlightenment factor: inquiring about the aggregates and so forth, the purification of the basis, namely the cleaning of the body, clothes, and so forth, imparting evenness to the five spiritual, controlling faculties, avoiding the ignorance, associating with the wise, reflecting on the profound difference of the heart to perceive processes of the aggregates, modes or elements, sense bases, and so forth, and the inclining, sloping, bending towards the development of the enlightenment factor of the investigation of mental objects. Inquiring about the aggregates and so forth means seeking the meaning of the aggregates, the modes or elements, sense bases, controlling faculties, powers, enlightenment factors, wave factors, absorption factor, the meditation for quietude and the meditation for insight, by asking for explanation of knotty points regarding these things in the five Nikayas with the commentaries from teachers of the Dhamma.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now, okay. So this is actually, like we say, this is much more on wisdom based. So before you get to wisdom, of course, you must be mindful of any nama rupa, your environment, and also your internal. Like just now, you need to have mindfulness. You need to have clear comprehension and so on. Now, after that, you'll be mindful. Now, the next step is put your mind on into the Dhamma or try to investigate the Dhamma. All right. So this one is this one. All right. Now, here also use the word right reflection. Okay, so here, this means that beside the right reflection, here also a right reflection here. Okay. Okay. Now, 7 factors. Yeah, this is, I think, if you find in any Vipassana book, you'll find these 6 factors. This is a very famous. Even Visuddhimagga, you also talk about this. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. All right. So before we go, just now already, Sister Melinda already read the first one only. So means that try to know the meaning of aggregates, bases, powers, and so on. Okay. So this is more on the. This means that we have nama rupa. Of course, you need to go deeper. All right. Because first you have the mindfulness. So you don't stop at mindfulness. You go deeper to understand all these aggregate, 6 sense bases, faculties, power, and so on. All right. So you can see the list here. Okay. So we have this one. A lot is a lot here. Okay. How do you do it? All right. So you need to ask questions to the teacher. Anything about like Nikaya, about the commentary. If there are any points you don't know, so you need to ask. The best way, of course, get the help from the teacher. Right. So there are main things here. Okay. So this is the things that you all should ask. Okay. Aggregates, sense bases, mode, and so on. Okay. Now this is already finished. Now later you will talk about the second part, purification basis. All right. How come there are 3 and 4? How many? 16, right? So this should be number 3 already. Okay. Okay, never mind. We go for the numbers. Okay, so the first one is inquiry. All right. Any of your aggregates, 6 sense bases, and by asking questions. All right. So this is the first one. By asking questions. That's the advantage of asking question, because you will clear your doubts and also you get the wisdom from the teacher. Of course, if you don't ask, you might miss the opportunity to learn from teacher. Okay, now we will read these 2 and 3. Right. So Vera, can you read this one? Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Saiji.
Yes.
Purification, is it? Start from purification, is it, Saiji? Saiji? Okay. Can I start now, Saiji? I start, huh? Saiji's line hang.
We can hear you. You can start.
Recording is still on.
Still on, okay. Purification of the basis is the cleaning of the personal basis, the body, and of the impersonal basis, clothes, and dwelling place. The flame of the lamp is unclear when its wick, oil, and container are dirty. The wick splatters, flickers, but the flame of a lamp that has a clean wick, oil, and container is clear, and the wick does not spit. It burns smoothly. So it is with knowledge, knowing that arises out of the mind and the mental qualities which are in dirty external and internal surroundings is apt to be impure too, but the knowledge that arises under clean condition is apt to be pure. In this way, cleanliness leads to the growth of this enlightenment factor, which comprises knowledge. Personal cleanliness is impaired by the excessive length of hair of the head, nails, hair of the body, by the excess of humus, and by the dirt of perspiration. Cleanliness of in-person or external things is impaired when robes are worn out, dirty, and smelly, and when the house where one lives is dirty, soiled, and untidy. So personal cleanliness should be secured by shaving, hair cutting, nail paring, the use of pectoral emetics and of purgative, which make the body light, and by shampooing, bathing, and doing other necessary things at the proper time. In similar way, external cleanliness should be brought about by darning, washing, and dyeing one's robes, and by smearing the floor of one's house with clay and the light to smoothen and clean it, and by doing other necessary things to keep the house clean and tidy.
Okay, thank you. All right. So
Thank you,
all
sir.
these are just some common sense about how you should clean the body, right? So the first one will be clothes and dwelling. Okay. Okay, so already here mentioned. So this is called purification of basis, okay? Body, clothes, and also your environment, okay? So including environment. Because imagine you try to meditate if you never sweep the floor. So after a while, of course, the floor might be a little bit dirty, but sooner or later, if there's ants in the house, so normally in meditation center, any meditation center we go, so we had to sweep the floor. Because overnight we switch on the lamp, so the next day the insects are attracted by the light. So the insect will pass away in the morning. So then the ants will come collect the food. All right. So if we never sweep the floor before we meditate, it's impossible to sit down because the ants will come and crawl over the body. That's a normal common sense we have to do in all meditation center. For our house, we need to keep clean. all right? And also your clothes should be, maybe not to say you need to wear new clothes, but it should be clean clothes also. And cleanse the body part, like all this hair, nail, body, and so on. So excess humors, all right? Humors is kind of like in English here, but if you check the dictionary, so it's something to do with bowel and phlegm. All these are make us not, your body is not in a good condition, right? So that's why I say all this, you should something like this, something to make sure your body is functioning like not too much extra this kind of humors and so on, and cleaner. I think this is easy to understand. So we call it purification of basis. In a Visuddhimagga, actually also give the same text, same information. Okay, next the third one is evenness to 5 controlling faculties. Right. I think we see this also in the Indriya Paccaya, right? So in the Indriya Paccaya, we had 22. Okay, so here is only 5 of them. I think you all know Sada, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya. So number 3. Okay. Okay, now this part is talking about how should you make sure the faculties are even. Okay, so we can read. Okay, next one. Sister Wong, you can read this one. Yes.
Good evening, Sayaji and everybody.
Okay. Yes.
When faith outstrips the others through overactivity, the others are thrown out of gear. Then energy finds it impossible to exert. Mindfulness to attend to the object. Concentration to the non-distracted. And wisdom to see. Therefore, that overactivity of faith should be made to wane either by reflection on the phenomenal nature of the things faced, or by not attending to the thing when thinking of which faith becomes excessive. The story of the Tiara Vakali is the illustration of overactive faith. Faith outstrips the others because of the unclearness of wisdom and the laxity and so forth of energy, and the others through the excessive zeal of the function of faith in regard to a believable object, an object that generates trust. Energy is unable to do the work of exerting and of supporting the associated mental characteristics and to avoid indolence. Mindfulness is not able to do the work of attending to the object, of continuing to be at the object after coming to it. Concentration is not able to do the work of non-distraction, of rejecting distraction, to see the object according to actuality as if one was seeing a physical thing with the eye. Wisdom is not able. These 4 faculties are unable to do their work because of their being overwhelmed by the faculty of faith acting very strong. Only by the evenness of function can the mental things which exist together with consciousness and are the principal things amongst connaissant mental things, namely the 5 spiritual controlling faculties, accomplish their work, not otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So here
Thank
you. Yes, okay. So here it just trying to say that the 5 spiritual controlling faculties, the Indriya Paccaya, the one we learned on Friday, all right? So should be equalizing. Equalizing means neither too much or neither too less. For example, if faith is too much, right, then others are thrown out of gear. So the energy cannot do its function, mindfulness cannot do its function, concentration cannot do its function, and so on. Yeah. Now this here is important here. Okay. Why faith is too much? It's because the wisdom is not clear. Right? That's the first thing. Right? And also because others are not enough. Okay. I think sometimes it's not easy to read because all these are translation from Pali. Okay, now I think we just come to this. This story of Wakari is very interesting. Okay, so right, so we need to examine even object by object of faith, right? So it just trying to say, okay, we go for the Wakari story. Okay, Wakali is somebody who we call it too much faith here, right? He liked to sit in front of the Buddha because Buddha have fulfilled the parami. So the Buddha has very beautiful form, body look, and very sweet sound. Of course, Buddha was very handsome. So this Vakali, he actually ordained as a monk, not because he interested in Dhamma, because he liked to see the Buddha. So every time in the audience, he would sit in front of the Buddha and just sit there and admire the Buddha. So that's why the one time the teacher admonished him, so what's profit you to see this impure body? If you really see the Dhamma, that's a famous sentence here. Those who see the Dhamma can see the Buddha. So the Buddha always say, if you see the Dhamma, that means that you really understand the Buddha. So who sees the Dhamma sees me. And then the Buddha urged him to practice subject of meditation. So, but he still unable to try, apply in meditation practice. And then he was thought of killing himself. So he went to a place that steep declivity. Then the Buddha showed himself by psychic power, like he was sitting in front of him and spoke this one, right? Okay. So after he heard the Buddha voice, words, and then he started to develop his insight meditation, right? But because his faith, his sada is very strong, so he cannot, the vipassana knowledge, the joy of the insight was not enough. He was not able to enter it, right? So the Buddha, knowing this, gave him the subject meditation after correcting it and with the imparting of evenness or contrary faculties. They said the Buddha teach him that he should balance the faith with wisdom and then the effort with samadhi and so on. So this Thera put himself in the path of practice taught by the master, and after doing hard work in regular order, he reached arahantship. Okay. So that's a story about this on okay. So on this part, the story will be on this Wakali Thera. Too much faith. Okay. Now on the second one, on the Sona. Sona also interesting, right? So now Sona Thera is the other way, right? He has a very delicate constitution. So it say that his body is so delicate until they say at the sole of his feet there's even some soft hair grow on the sole of his feet. So after getting the meditation subject from the teacher, so he was living in cool wood, and then he said, my body is delicate, it's not possible to reach the happiness or comfort only, right? So even after being exhausted, the duty of the recluse should be done. So before that, his life is too comfortable. Now he's opposite, very opposite. He try his best to meditate. He only do standing and walking, all right? Sometimes in the Buddha story, like different arahant, different bhikkhu, some will dedicate themselves to walking, some will dedicate themselves to standing. He will be standing and walking, and then he don't even sit down. Okay, he never sit down. He also don't lie down. But because of excessive walk, blister appear at the sole of feet, and then he get great pain. But he continue to make strong effort. So here his effort is very strong, but cannot produce any state of distinction in meditation with excessive energy. Then the master visits Sona, instruct him with the simile or lute right? Because when somebody play the lute, because Sona was as a householder in a house last time, he was very skillful player. So the Buddha tell him this simile, because to have good sound for the lute, the string should not be too tight. If too tight, it will break. If too loose, then the sound is not good. So he tell him this simile. Then after that, he applied energy evenly, right? Then after that, he work hard and he gain arhatship, all right? So Sona is the opposite way. Too much energy. So this is too much faith. This is too much energy, right? Okay, now this is just a story here, but sometimes it's actually interesting to read the story from the commentary. So the wise, especially this one. This is important here. So which one you should balance? Faith and wisdom, concentration and energy. All right. So this is in the 5 faculties, we have this one. Okay. So the number 1, faith, and then the number 5, wisdom, should be balanced. Then energy and concentration, virya and samadhi should balance. So by mindfulness, we should not balance, because mindfulness, we should increase as much as possible. But you should have enough, you should balance faith and wisdom, then they can work together. Right here, explain, if somebody has strong faith, right, but the wisdom is feeble, is weak in wisdom, what happens is that he become easy to believe in those people, foolish people. Normally we say foolish people, sometimes it can be defaulted to bad people, right? Foolish people or bad people who have no virtue, no morality. Okay, so he easily too trusting. So that's a one disadvantage if too much faith. But if somebody has very strong wisdom, but the faith is weak, what happens? He get crafty minded, right? Like a drug produce disease that cannot be cured. Now, even though we use the word wisdom here, it's actually sometimes with the word because the word, this is sada, right? So everybody know. Now, this word wisdom, sometimes we use the panya. Okay. So if sada is more than the panya, what happens is that the person will become over trusting, believe in foolish people. So there's one disadvantage. But if sada is less, but panya is too much, so we call it the beaker become crafty, or we call it cunning, right? But in this case, this panya, we don't call it as a wisdom here, because if you put a wisdom, then it very confused, because the other idea of wisdom, the other terms for panya, actually we can call it like knowledge. Okay, so if somebody have faith is a lot, faith is very little, but the knowledge is too much, so he uses knowledge to to hurt people. Okay, so that's not enough. So faith is too little, knowledge is too much. Okay, so the mind become cunning, crafty. Okay, so there's one disadvantage of this faculty. All right. So such a person thinks that wholesome karma arises with just the intention to do good, going along the wrong way by a species of thoughts beyond the limits of reason, and doing neither almsgiving nor other similar good deeds. He is reborn in a state of woe. By the equalizing faith and wisdom, one believes only in those like the Buddha who are worthy of trust, because there's a reason for trusting them. All right. Now, okay, what he's trying to say that some people they know about karma, right? So they thought, okay, they don't want to do with physical or verbal karma. They just think, oh, I want to do good deed, I want to do good deed, just a mental intention, but he never actualized his action. And because of he used the mind in this way, then he never do actually any good deeds. And then the result is he born in the woeful state. Okay, that's the reason of saying when somebody have too much panya, knowledge or wisdom. Okay, so this explain. So this paragraph is trying to explain about this one. Okay, about our faith and sada. This is too much, too less. This is we call just faith. So faith is too much, wisdom is too less, then we over trusting. Okay, faith is too little, knowledge too much, then crafty. So we finish this one, right? And also sometimes use the knowledge just like just now say intention to do good only, but never actually do good. Now the next paragraph is talking about this one. What is the second pair we showed is the between the effort and the concentration, right? This is a second group here. Now, as concentration naturally inclines towards indolence, when there is too much of concentration and too little of energy, indolence overwhelms the mind. As energy inclines naturally towards lessness and or agitation, when there is much energy and little concentration, restlessness overwhelms the mind. Right? When the concentration is combined well with energy, there will be no failing of the mind into indolence. When energy is combined well with concentration, there is no failing of the mind into restlessness. Okay. Now it's like this. When effort is too much, concentration is too little, so the result will be restlessness. But when the effort is too less, the concentration is too much, so result will be indolence. All right, indolence means the mind is lazy. So we call it kind of like lazy mind, right? So you need to make sure that your effort and concentration should be balanced, because you want to avoid the problem like indolence and restlessness. What's the meaning of effort? Effort means, for example, like if you are doing a lot of walking meditation, you don't do sitting meditation, so the mind tend to be too active. But if you how to increase the concentration is very easy. You just sit or lie down. So if you are sitting and lie down for a long time, then you don't walk, so your mind become more lazy. It's become not active. So that's a disadvantage if this effort and concentration is this pair is not balanced. So the rest are just say other things. Okay, now, so we already finished the all right. So finish the pair between faith and wisdom. So this 1 and 5 should be balanced. Then energy or effort and concentration should balance. Now the text will explain about mindfulness here. Right. Now mindfulness. Now strong mindfulness is met everywhere, means that it's desired everywhere or every moment, since it protects the mind from falling into restlessness, belong to faith, energy and wisdom, and from falling into indolence belong to concentration. Faith energy and wisdom have the tendency towards excitement, and concentration has a tendency towards sloth. This is actually interesting here. Okay. Now, when we look at these things, right? I just copied the text. I think it's interesting for us to study. All right. Okay, now faith, energy, and wisdom towards excitement. Right? Why is it towards excitement? Right? Now, concentration I mentioned just now. So, like for example, you sit for a long time, or you just lying down for a long time. Your mind, another meaning of concentration means that your mind just put on one place. So after a while, you might feel indolence. So slothful coming. Okay, faith is you have faith in Buddha or Dhamma. Sometimes because of your faith is so strong, you want to do donation, or you want to pay respect to Buddha. So your mind is active, want to do this, want to do that because of your faith. So because of too much energy, your mind also excited, want to do this, want to do that. Sometimes wisdom also have tendency towards excitement, because sometimes wisdom is kind of like inquiry. Your mind is not settling on the object, but your mind want to go to see the nature of this one. It's like going inquire about this and that. So this one and this one, okay. So it's interesting. It's the first time I see this text. The other one, this one I see before. All right. So these are some extra points for us. Okay. Therefore, mindfulness is to be desired by the yogi always, is likened to the sword traveling, which is in all carries, and the minister of all work wanted in every business of the king. Right. So it's just say in the 5 faculties, mindfulness, the yogi should have it all the time. All right. So this is just some example. All right. And mindfulness is desired everywhere. Why? Because mindfulness is the mind's help. Because mindfulness has just protection as manifestation, and because without mindfulness there is no exerting or restraining of the mind. Right. So this is just some extra information. Right. And so mindfulness is a help for the wholesome, skillful state of consciousness. I think this is the rest is actually not so important. Avoiding the ignorance is keeping away from fully thought, not grounded in the knowledge or divisions of the aggregates and so forth. Associating, okay, so this is the next paragraph, right? So this one, avoiding and associating. Okay, so this one should be 4 and 5. So it's talking about the people we should avoid, those ignorance, foolish person, and we should associate with the wise here. Okay, this one we see in the earlier text for the mindfulness also. We should associate, like mindfulness, we also should associate with the wise, avoid those foolish, ignorant people, those with no less wisdom. And also in the mindfulness, we also have this one, okay? Reflecting on the 5 aggregate and so on. So in mindfulness, we also see this sentence also. So it's same here. And also inclining towards the development factors. This one we also see in mindfulness. So these two actually same with mindfulness. Okay. So yeah. Right. I think this one is a long text here. We still have energy, joy, and then calmness and factors of that. Okay, so I think we can go for energy. Right. So basically for this Dhamma, for this okay, this part is on the okay. Mindfulness we finished already. Okay, this part is on the Dhamma Vicaya, right? Dhamma Vicaya actually, if you look at any text, even with Srimagga, it actually have lots of points here. Okay, so the first one will be inquiry. Second will be purification basis. The one we just mentioned is the 5 faculties. And then the next one will be avoiding the people, those not good one, and associating with the wise, and reflecting on the aggregate spaces and so on. The next one will be try to incline the mind towards the development of factors of this Dhamma Vicaya. Okay, so 6 point here. Yes, Brother Ko.
G, on your note here, on this particular, you go further up, I think you have to highlight that this is for Dharma Vicaya. Otherwise, it might mix up out. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
this one. This
Ah,
one I highlight already. Okay.
yeah, but
Yeah.
and it's only an enlightenment factor, ma. But what enlightenment factor? This is Dharma
Oh, yeah,
Vicaya.
yeah. Okay.
Ah,
Okay, okay.
thank you.
Okay. So the first one will be on. Okay, the first one will be on. So this A, all right? So practice mindfulness. Second one will be Dhamma Vicaya, B, right? Okay, we can go for, since I think you're all interested to study, so let's go for this one. Energy, effort. So how long can you? Right, so okay, now. Okay, I think next student can read. We take turns to read, okay? Brother King, yes? You can read this one, yes.
Okay, energy. There is the mode or element of energy that is inceptive, the mode of energy that is enduring, and the mode of energy that is strong, powerful, courageous, and an abundance of right reflection of this mode of energy is the reason conducive to the arising of the non-arising enlightenment factor of energy, and for the increase, expansion, and the completion of culture of that enlightenment factor when it has arisen. 11 things lead to the arising of the enlightenment factor of energy. Reflection of the fearfulness of states of woe, apaya baya, the seeing of the benefits of energy, reflection on the path to be trodden, the honoring of alms, reflection of the greatness of the heritage, the reflection on the greatness of the master, reflection on the greatness of race, the reflection on the greatness of fellows in the holy drive, the avoiding of lazy folk, the associating with folk who has begun to exert, and the inclination towards the development of the enlightenment factor of energy. Reflection on the fearfulness of the state of woe is stated in the Devadutta and other suttas, produces in the yogi the thought. Now is the time to arouse energy. It is not possible to be energetic when subject to great suffering. The seeing of the benefits of energy is the appreciation of the fact that only by one who has begun to exert himself in the development of the enlightenment factors, etc., could the supramundane truth be obtained, and not by a lazy person. The path
Okay, you can read, yeah, okay?
The path trodden by all the supreme Buddhas, the Peccaka Buddhas, and the great disciples has to be trodden by you, says the yogi to himself. And that path is impossible for an indolent person. That's the reflection on the path to be trodden. The yogi thinks thus: those who support you with almswood and so forth are not relative of yours, are not your servants. They do not give you excellent alms, thinking, we shall, in the future, live depending on you. But they give expecting from their offerings great fruit. Also, the requisites were not allowed to you by the master, so that you may make use of the requisite and live strong-bodied in comfort. But they were allowed to you so that you may do the duty of the recluse and escape the realm of suffering, using the requisite. The indolent one does not honor the alms. Only he who has begun to be energetic honors it. Reflection in this way about honoring the alms permitted by the Buddha produces energy. as in the case of the Thera Mahamita, great friend.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
All right. Yeah, down there is just a story here. Okay.
Yeah.
So the key point here, you also can find in the Visuddhimagga and many books. Right. So just copy it. So this is on C already. So this called Viriya, all right? Effort. So first, think about fearfulness of the apaya, right? Then honors the time, greatness of the teacher, greatness of the race. This one you also can read the Visuddhimagga. It has lots of story also. Also, Sam, think about holy life, avoid the lazy people, associate with people who have effort. And also, Sam, you notice that also these two is talking about environment, who we should associate, right? And also incline the mind towards the development of the enlightenment factor energy. So before that, it's just some other things here. Okay. Okay. So this one we finish, and this is just the story here. Okay. So we can skip the story. Okay. Now, what is the greatness of heritage and greatness of master and race, greatness of pharaoh in holy life? I think this one is not so is not to say not important, but it's just more on reflection here, all right? So if you notice that this paragraph also start with the word right reflection. Okay. You notice that also yeah, this paragraph. So this word right reflection is actually very important. Okay. Earlier on we see like this, how we should reflect rightly, all right, about even on these 11 factors enlightenment. Okay. I think now is 45 minutes already. Do you want me to continue or you want to stop? You all want me to continue or you want to stop for meditation? Any answer?
Maybe Saiji we stop for meditation.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think that's enough, yeah, because too much theory also not good. That's why I decided to open this kind of like meditation class, because I want you all to also do. All right. So now today we learn about Bojjhanga. Bojjhanga, the first one is mindfulness. All right. Mindfulness here, I just do a short review. All right. Mindfulness means be mindful of your nama rupa at any time, any place, any posture. So that's the first thing you should know. So the meaning of mindfulness means clear awareness of the object. Object of meditation means that your own nama rupa. So after you be able to mindful on your nama rupa or six sense base or aggregates and so on, then the second thing you should go is Dhamma Vijaya. Dhamma Vijaya is try to see more deeper on your nama rupa, right? But before, like the text say, you should do few things to make your Dhamma Vijaya better, like keep the body clean, keep the environment clean, or take a shower and cut your long nail or long hair and so on. Those will be very helpful quality for clear wisdom to arise. Okay. And then third one just now mentioned will be on mindfulness, Dhamma Vichaya, and then effort. Effort is different. Effort is means that you need to have consistent effort in meditation. So even you sit down, so if your mind start to wander, you have to bring back the mind. All right, there's effort there. And one way to increase the effort is, in a way, we say reduce the concentration, because if the concentration is too much, your mind tend to be slow and torpid. So what's the meaning of, sometimes we have the word over concentration. Over concentration means that your mind focus on the object but not really in the right way. It's kind of like just dwell in the object, but you kind of like sleep slip away. So sometimes your mind is like, you find your mind is lazy, then you should increase the effort, all right? But sometimes if you have too much effort, you find that your mind is too excited, then you should increase your concentration. It means that you should reduce the objects. Sometimes your mind is like going all over the place. Your mind is very restless. Then you just should choose one object and then just go deeper. So in this way, you should balance your effort and concentration. Anyway, okay, let's do half-hour meditation. We can start now. Okay, we will share the merits. So please follow me. Etawata cha amhehi sampada punya sampadam sape dewa sape buddha sape satta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idam me yatina hotu sukita hontu yatayo idam me yatina hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me yatina hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kamena mame pala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yavani panapatiya. Idam me punyam ashawakaya waham hotu. Idam me punyam nipanasa pacayo hotu. Mama punya baga sapa satana bajemi. Te sape me samam punya baga labantu. And we say Buddha Sasana Chirantitatu. Buddha sasanam chiram titatu. Buddha sasanam chiram titatu. Buddha sasanam chiram titatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, I think next week we will be able to finish it. Okay, so yeah, okay, so we continue another week next week, and after that we will just break for holiday. All right. Okay, so see you all
Thank
next
you.
week. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Bye
Saiji. Thank you so
Thank you,
much for your
Saji.
teaching.
Sadhu. Thank you,
bye. Okay,
everyone.
bye bye. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining.
Sahaji. Sadhu,
Bye.
sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Saji. Sadhu, 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 sadhu. Take care, everybody. Bye.